Hello, I am back with more bedtime musings. I was just sitting and thinking about everything and nothing, as I'm prone to do, and I was reflecting on how many times growing up people told me, "Oh, don't be so sensitive." And I was like, "What? Why? Why not?" And they're like, "Oh my God, you're just so sensitive." I was like, "Okay, I guess that's a bad thing. I guess that's something to overcome, right?" And I'm sitting here thinking about it. I'm like, that's an absurd thing to say to a person. We don't have this complex, delicate, like super intricate and mysterious neurology to be insensitive to this world. We evolved to have these senses for a reason. And okay, one, when people say that, they're often just trying to shut you down. They're just uncomfortable with where you're feeling. It's inconvenient. They want to shut you down. And they'll be like, oh, just don't be so sensitive. So we understand that. But there was also a kernel of truth in it because this drew my attention to it. And I realized that, yeah, I am a little more sensitive than the next guy over. It's just, I, I am. I'm naturally a little more responsive to stimuli, right? And so if it's a really stressful situation, it goes deep for me. And I've definitely developed skills to create space and manage it, but that wasn't true through most of my life. And I'm also moved by things much more deeply, I think, than most people. I really, I'll stop and take in a beautiful view that other people might rush by, or I'll see a detail that other people are not attentive to. And I just, I do feel things. I'm more sensitive to things like anesthesia or alcohol or these things too. I just am more sensitive. I even had oral surgery performed, and happily the surgeon had an intuition, and he went back and he said, I don't know why, but I thought you had an extra nerve there, and it turns out you do. I told this to my mother. She does too. We may be biologically more sensitive, and my mother, I think, learned how to dial it down and tune it out and like tamp it down. I've learned some skills, but I don't think it's in my nature to do that. I think I don't like what I become when I do that. I'm capable. I have needed to suppress it at times. People tell me toughen up. I was like, okay, I toughened up, but I don't like the person I am and I don't like the life that I create in that way. So, yeah, it's not that I can't toughen up, it's that I can't live my own actual full life as who I really am if I'm busy toughening up and living from that place. So, I think that I've accepted that I'm a somewhat, not much, but somewhat more sensitive organism, let's say. And I've grown to like that in a lot of ways, but it's taken me a whole big journey to go from who I was born as, right? And of course, we have to develop and refine, and as we grow, we do become someone other than who we were when we were this many. But there's you ask parents who've had more than one child to tell you they're totally different people. We come with a certain nature, and having come away from that and back around to it, I prefer being a little sensitive. And it just dawned on me that yeah, we didn't evolve these senses, these emotions, these social structures, these response patterns, so that we could be senseless and indifferent. Like, why be embodied? Why have a sensual world? Why have a, an organism, several organisms on this planet geared around their senses? Is it just to put food in one side and get it out the other? Make more copies to do the same? Like, that's really it? I sometimes will argue that the meaning of life is to make more life on a certain level, but I think there's more to it. I think that that's not an entirely true statement. It's conditionally true under certain circumstances. There's validity in saying that, and it's an interesting lens to look through. But there's more to life than that. And if we're embodied beings with complex senses in a material world full of so much stimuli, why do we tell people don't be so sensitive? That's terrible guidance, especially for a young person trying to calibrate where they need to be with things. And I spent a lot of years suppressing and denying that what I think is a gift. I think it's a gift to be sensitive. I feel that I live a richer life and I have more and better access to what goes on within me because of that. And as I get older and more informed and hopefully a little bit wiser, I, I can use that to my advantage. So I think we need to look at the things we were told as children. When we take things so literally, we're like, okay, it's a bad thing. I have to not be that. Like, it sounds silly as an adult to say it, but yeah, when you're a kid, that's how it works. You're very literal because you're trying to be like, is this good? No, not that. Should I touch that? No, not that. Oh, this one? Okay. Like, that's how we get here. And some of the data that went in was kind of corrupted and misleading, and I don't know. I'm glad to be on this side of it, and I just want to say, like, be sensitive. Go ahead. That's what we're here for, and I'm going to do the same. So let's shake out some of the bugs in the program and really think about how the things we say to ourselves, oh, I'm just being sensitive. Like, no, what are you sensing? Be responsible for that, right? It's not just like, well, I'm having feelings and now the world has to rotate around that. No, it's saying like, I'm having these feelings and I can look at them and I can use them to inform and guide me. And why wouldn't I want to be sensitive to that? So, yeah, just a little defiant riff on like, don't tell me I'm too sensitive. I mean, yeah, sometimes I've had my moments and it's fair enough, but that's not that's not the general way of things. And I think we need to maybe be more sensitive, right? Next time somebody says you're too sensitive, you'll be like, you're not sensitive enough. What? No, let's not go picking fights, but maybe within ourselves sort of have that model work in place of the other. I think there are a lot of things we need to pull out like that, and this was just one random one I wanted to share. So, ta, there it is. Um, yeah, that's it. Thank you for joining, and I look forward to another round of this soon. See you there. Bye bye.